I will do a small introduction as it is the first time he is coming to our masjid. But to start off with today's proceedings, inshallah, I would like to call upon Umar to do some recitation of the Holy Quran.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ولقد آتينا موسى الكتاب وجعلنا معه أخاه هارون وزيرا فقلنا اذهبا إلى القوم الذين كذبوا بآياتنا فدمرناهم تدميرا وقوم نوح لما كذبوا الرسل أغرقناهم وجعلناهم للناس آية وأعتدنا للظالمين عذابا أليما وعادا وثمود وأصحاب الرس وقرونا بين ذلك كثيرا وكلا ضربنا له الأمثال وكلا تبرنا تتبيرا ولقد أتوا على القرية التي أمطرت مطر السوء أفلم يكونوا يرونها بل كانوا لا يرجون نشورا وإذا رأوك إن يتخذونك إلا هزوا أهذا الذي بعث الله رسولا إن كاد ليضلنا عن آلهتنا لولا أن صبرنا عليها وسوف يعلمون حين يرون العذاب من أضل سبيلا أرأيت من اتخذ إلهه هواه أفأنت تكون عليه وكيلا أم تحسب أن أكثرهم يسمعون أو يعقلون إن هم إلا كالأنعام بل هم أضل سبيلا صدق الله العظيم.
MashaAllah, Jazakallah for the beautiful recitation. Umar, alhamdulillah, is a product of our Maktab. He taught by Mufti Sahib and myself, alhamdulillah. Now he is going on to study Hifz. Alhamdulillah, he's completed 20 juz. He also did the Tarawih this year. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give him the ability to complete his Hifz, and inshallah let us all benefit from his Quran, inshallah. I'd like to now call upon Ismail to render a nasheed for us, inshallah.
السلام عليكم.
يا إخوتي ماذا نقول أم حزننا جلب البكاء للصحبة أهل المهابة والإخاء عاشوا على هدي النبي يرجون رحمن السماء. يا إخوتي ماذا نقول أم حزننا جلب البكاء للصحبة أهل المهابة والإخاء عاشوا على هدي النبي يرجون رحمن السماء. يرجون جنة ربهم يوم القيامة والجزاء يوم رحيب قاتل في لحظة حق اللقاء. ترى وجوها كالهات ترى وجوها نائمات. يا إخوتي ماذا نقول أم حزننا جلب البكاء للصحبة أهل المهابة والإخاء عاشوا على هدي النبي يرجون رحمن السماء. يا رب إنا مذنبون يا رب إنا مشفقون يا رب إنا راغبون في جنة فوق السماء في جنة الخلد التي رفع الرسول لها اللواء. يا إخوتي ماذا نقول أم حزننا جلب البكاء للصحبة أهل المهابة والإخاء عاشوا على هدي النبي يرجون الرحمن السماء. ترى وجوها ناظرات فوق المنابر في السماء فإذا سألت فإنهم قوم لباسهم الوفاء يدعون في الليل البهيم يا ربنا أقبل الدعاء. الله أكبر يا رجال الله أكبر ماضيا الله أكبر أفلحا دمي وروحي وماليا الله أكبر راية تمضي وتخفيق عاليا. يا إخوتي ماذا نقول أم حزننا جلب البكاء للصحبة أهل المهابة والإخاء عاشوا على هدي النبي يرجون الرحمن السماء. يا إخوتي ماذا نقول أم حزننا جلب البكاء للصحبة أهل المحبة والإخاء عاشوا على هدي النبي يرجون الرحمن السماء.
MashaAllah, Jazakallah. Now before I call Maulana Abdullah to come to the member, I just wanted to do a quick introduction. MashaAllah, Maulana Abdullah is my classmate from Darul Uloom. I was the oldest in the class, he was the youngest in the class. I came first in the class, he came last. Actually even better than me. Anyway, alhamdulillah, so because this theme of being the oldest and being the youngest, in the khutbah I recited the first verse that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed and the final verse he revealed to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The first verse he revealed, to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq. Read in the name of the Lord, of your Lord. So the focus was on reading, the focus was on knowledge, on attaining knowledge. And the final verse which was revealed, وَاتَّقُوا يَوْمًا تُرْجَعُونَ فِيهِ إِلَى اللَّهِ, and fear the day you return to Allah. This was the final verse to be revealed, my brothers. So our whole life should be focused on what's going to happen on our last day. This, everything in between, the different stages of our life, our childhood, our youth, our young adulthood, going into old age, etc. It should all be focused towards the end point, which is the day we return to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Alhamdulillah, Maulana Abdullah Sahib has come from Gloucester. He's an Imam of Masjid Umar. And alhamdulillah, he was only 19 years old when he graduated, mashallah. He became a hafiz by his own father, who's the Imam of Jami Masjid in Gloucester. And then he came at a very young age to Darul Uloom and he finished at the age of 19. He was the youngest graduate in our class. And since then, alhamdulillah, he's doing imamat. He's also the deputy head of Al-Ashraf School, for which there is a collection going on today, which I will talk about a bit later on, inshallah. He's very hardworking. Even during the days in Darul Uloom, he used to look after all the younger children with myself. And he's had this fikr, this concern about our community, about our children. And upon that subject, inshallah, I'd like to call him to the member to say a few words. So please listen attentively, and inshallah, we will take benefit from it. Jazakallah khair.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله الواحد الأحد الفرد الصمد الذي لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد المبعوث إلى الأحمر والأسود وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى غد. أما بعد، أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا قوا أنفسكم وأهليكم نارا وقودها الناس والحجارة عليها ملائكة غلاظ شداد لا يعصون الله ما أمرهم ويفعلون ما يؤمرون. وقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا مات ابن آدم انقطع عنه عمله إلا من صدقة جارية أو علم ينتفع به أو ولد صالح يدعو له أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا مولانا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا مولانا محمد وبارك وسلم. Respected elders and brothers, like Mullah Ibrahim said, this is the first time I'm coming to Coventry, and I think he's overestimated my capabilities. So I'd like to make our expectations quite realistic. I'm still very young, okay? I'm only 24 years old. So I'm not in a position to lecture you about how to raise your children. Because inshallah one day, but so far Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hasn't yet blessed me with a child. Inshallah one day. So I can't lecture the older people amongst you with children about how to raise your children. But inshallah what I can share with you today will be challenges I've seen as a teacher and now the deputy head teacher at a primary school, and also as the imam of a masjid, and also like Mawlana mentioned how we used to be responsible for nurturing the students of the madrasa. So in 3 different walks of life, it's not a long, maybe 7-8 years worth of experience, but we've seen how the world has changed, and especially the older people must remember, in the last 20 years, Allahu Akbar, how the world has changed and how children are growing up faster than ever before. I want to start off with something, right? When we speak with our friends and when we converse with people, there are certain things we do as human beings. It's a natural thing we do to try to bring the attention back to ourselves. Okay? Now I'm also a student of psychology and counseling. So you'll notice this. When somebody's talking, 2 people are talking about a random thing. Now, Mawlana is talking to me about something, and he's spoken for a very long time about himself, what a project he's working on. What I'll do is, naturally, all humans do this, I will then try to bring the conversation onto myself. Oh, but yeah, mashallah, I've also done this. And as humans, we do this. And you notice this. When somebody is talking about something good, we'll try to overwhelm them with something we're doing. And one of the biggest things we talk about, or you would talk about as parents, are your children. Because your children are your pride. When your child graduates, you let everybody know. When your child becomes a hafid, you let everybody know. How many of us celebrate our children when they do something wrong? If your child is in a newspaper, for example, Allah save him, Allah save us. But if your child is in a newspaper for the wrong reasons, am I going to go around showing everybody the newspaper? Of course I'm not, right? It'd be silly of me. Or I wouldn't send around the link on WhatsApp to say, oh look, this is my child, he's done such a crazy bad thing. But when there's something good, we like to celebrate. Now, in the spirit of this celebration, I want us to focus on the talk today. That this is about how we can become proud of our children again. And this is the role we play in the development and the progression of our children. Because the reality is, your child will be on the path you take him on. And he will go on no other path. And people blame friends and say, but his friends took him on the wrong path. Who facilitated him having those friends? Who allowed him to have those friends? At the end of the day, it comes down to our decisions we make for our children. I was sat with a sheikh one day in Gloucester, and the parents were saying, Sheikh, it's such a bad time, we have to worry about the children in Arabic, Urdu, we call it nasl. We have to worry about the nasl, we have to worry about the younger generation, they're going off track, they're going crazy and they're just going astray, and it's such a big challenge today. The world has moved so fast. And the sheikh said, you're worrying about the nasl, what about the asl? What about you? Because your child will follow your path. And you're so worried about your children today, what have you done to change it? Because what we like doing as humans again, is we like to put blame on other people, and we like to take blame away from ourselves. We can sit here and deny it how we like, but this is the reality. If something wrong happens, if I do something wrong at work, I'd like to bring a couple of causes and say maybe it was because of this or because of that or because of the other. And we never look in the mirror and self-reflect. And Shaykh was telling us that, look, if we were correct as humans, our children would be correct. How can we expect to live the life we want and expect our children to be the lighthouses of Iman for tomorrow? You and I are coming around. I'm collecting for my school today. And I'm sure many of you have donated towards the masajid, towards this masjid. We built so many big, beautiful masajid. Alhamdulillah. And the older generation, this is what they will take to the grave with them, and this is, inshallah, Allah will reward them plentiful on this great intention they have. But we haven't made the people inside the masjid. The masjid is not the four walls. The masjid is made up, and the quality of the masjid is based on the people inside the masjid. I've built a multi-million-pound masjid. I've built a huge masjid. But the only people who come for Fajr are the over 40s. The only people who come to Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib, Isha are the over 40s. And the under 20s are nowhere to be seen. Who's going to make this masjid abad? Who's going to fill the masjid tomorrow? And this is a really big concern we have. And you know what we do is, we like to deflect things, we don't like to think about things. But it's a reality that we have to face up to and say, where are our children? Where are the children? Where are the young adults? And we have a responsibility as parents, we have a responsibility as the older people in the community, that we care for our children. In the hadith that Mawlana recited, أَلَا وَكُلُّكُمْ رَاعٍ وَكُلُّكُمْ مَسْئُولٌ عَنْ رَعِيَّتِهِ. Be aware, O insan, every single one of you is like the shepherd. And a shepherd will be asked about his flock. Every single one of us is a shepherd. And we will be asked, and Nabi Sallallahu goes out and says, الرَّجُلُ رَاعٍ عَلَىٰ أَهْلِ بَيْتِهِ. The man is the shepherd over his family, and the wife is the shepherd over the children, etc., etc. So we have responsibilities. And don't ever think that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will ask me about myself, and if I'm okay, it'll all be good. Because of the questions on the Day of Judgment, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will certainly ask us what we did with our children. And if we did not give our children the right platform and the right foundation to build on, then we are accountable. We are accountable. There's a really beautiful hadith Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, and it makes you think. He said, إِنَّ الْمَيِّتْ لَيُعَذَّبْ بِبُكَاءِ أَهْلِهِ عَلَيْهِ. إِنَّ الْمَيِّتْ لَيُعَذَّبْ بِبُكَاءِ أَهْلِهِ عَلَيْهِ. That the person inside the grave, the mayyit, the deceased, the person who has passed away, will be punished because his family members are lamenting over him. Meaning, in the olden days, they used to do haram things, that they used to rip up their clothes, and they used to go to the grave, and they used to wail on the grave, haram practices. And Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, who's actually doing the action? Is the man in the grave doing the action? Who's doing the action? His children, his loved ones, his relatives, correct? Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to the Sahaba, إِنَّ الْمَيِّتْ لَيُعَذَّبْ بِبُكَاءِ أَهْلِهِ عَلَيْهِ. The person in the grave is being punished because they are doing these actions. And the Sahaba will question, like, well, what? Why is the man in the grave going to be punished? What's he done wrong? And the reason the ulama write is because the person in the grave did not teach them what was right and what was wrong. And this is why they are doing this haram action today. We might be long gone. Our door of deeds might have closed. But if we haven't done the tarbiyah and we haven't nurtured our children in the right way, we might be sleeping in our graves thinking, all's fine, it's all great, I did my tawbah. And our children are being the cause. Allah save us, Allah protect us for our punishment. And if you aren't concerned about your children, at least we're concerned about ourselves. I don't want to be punished. But we will live with the consequences of what we leave behind. And this is and then the opposite as well. The opposite, it's not all negative. The opposite as well. Rasulullah ﷺ said in the hadith that I mentioned, إِذَا مَاتَ ابْنُ آدَمْ. When insan dies, إِنْ قَطَعَ عَنْهُ عَمَلُهُ إِلَّا مِنْ ثَلَاثٍ. Every action he does finishes. In a hadith of Bukhari, Sayyidina Ali radiallahu ta'ala an said, ارتحلت الدنيا مدبرة وارتحلت الآخرة مقبلة ولكل واحدة منهما بنون فكونوا من أبناء الآخرة ولا تكونوا من أبناء الدنيا فإن اليوم عمل ولا حساب وغدا حساب ولا عمل. Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu said so powerfully, ارتحلت الدنيا مدبرة. The world is leaving you behind. Every day that passes, we have one day less to live. This is why it never makes sense when people celebrate birthdays. Forget whether it's halal or haram or whatever. It just doesn't make sense to me. Because you are getting closer to your grave. What is there to celebrate about? You are getting closer to your questioning. What is there to celebrate about? But because we never think logically, right? Today is gone is the time of actually thinking. We just follow other people. Nabi Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu said, the world is leaving you behind and the akhirat is coming close. And there are people of the dunya, there are people of the akhirah. فَكُونُوا مِنْ أَبْنَاءِ الْآخِرَةِ. Be a person whose concern is the akhirah. And don't be a person who's only concerned in the dunya. And he said, why? And this is really powerful what he said. فَإِنَّ الْيَوْمَ عَمَلٌ وَلَا حِسَابٌ. Today you have a chance to do amal, you have a chance to get some deeds written in your book of deeds. You have a chance to do amal, you have a chance to do actions, you have a chance to break the hajj, you have a chance to do tasbih, you have a chance to come to the masjid, you have a chance to learn the Quran. وَلَا حِسَابٌ. And if you do a bad deed, there is no hisab, there is no accountability, there is no questioning from Allah because it's the dunya. وَغَدًا. And tomorrow, hisabun وَلَا عَمَلٌ. Tomorrow there will be a questioning. And tomorrow you will ask Allah, give me one more chance. لَوْ أَنَّ لَنَا كَرَّةً. In the Quran, Allah says so beautifully what the people will say. لَوْ أَنَّ لَنَا كَرَّةً فَنَتَبَرَّأَ مِنْهُمْ كَمَا تَبَرَّأُوا مِنَّا. Allah says in the second juz, إِذْ تَبَرَّأَ الَّذِينَ تُبِعُوا مِنَ الَّذِينَ. I forgot the ayat of the Quran. إِذْ تَبَرَّأَ الَّذِينَ تُبِعُوا مِنَ الَّذِينَ اتَّبَعُوا. The people who were followed. So let's say we follow celebrities, right? We love celebrities. So they were the followed people. In the hereafter, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam promises, Al-mar'u ma'a man ahabba. You will be with whom you love. If Allah save and protect us all. But if Allah says tomorrow, you are going with this person. Because you loved him in the dunya, you can be with him in the akhirah. And the celebrity, the person who was followed, and the follower, will be saying, no Allah, please separate us, separate us, separate us. And then we will plead to Allah, لَوْ أَنَّ لَنَا كَرَّةً. Give us one more chance. Let us go back, please let us go back. I promise I'll be good. I promise I'll be good. Allah says in Surah Al-Sajdah, وَلَوْ تَرَى إِذِ الْمُجْرِمُونَ نَاكِسُوا رُؤُوسِهِمْ عِنْدَ رَبِّهِمْ رَبَّنَا أَبْصَرْنَا وَسَمِعْنَا فَارْجِعْنَا نَعْمَلْ صَالِحًا إِنَّا مُوقِنُونَ. Allah says, وَلَوْ تَرَى إِذِ الْمُجْرِمُونَ. If only you could see the condition of the people who will have bad deeds on the Day of Judgment. نَاكِسُوا رُؤُوسِهِمْ عِنْدَ رَبِّهِمْ. They will tilt their heads down in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know when a child goes home and he's done something wrong and he's ashamed and he stands in front of his father like this. رَبَّنَا أَبْصَرْنَا. Allah, we have seen now, we've seen. وَسَمِعْنَا. And we've heard. فَارْجِعْنَا نَعْمَلْ صَالِحًا. Let us go back and let us do good deeds. Allah will say, time is up. What do you mean you have time to do good deeds? It's finished. You had your time. You had your time. Now it's my time. So insan will not have a chance to do good deeds after he has died. But in this hadith, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam promises us, a man will continue to benefit even after he has died from three types of actions. Now our lives are limited, right? And we will try to do whatever we can in our lives. But there's a limit to it because we have to die one day. Allah give us all a healthy, long life with afiyah. But one day we're going to have to go. So we can't rely on good deeds only until we die. Because they are limited. So what do we need? We need a bank of good deeds that will continue after we die. That's fair enough, right? When we make investments as parents, we make it only for ourselves to eat from or for our children to eat from as well. We make long-term investments for our children to eat from as well. Same with your good deeds. Because our time in this dunya is limited. So we need to invest in good actions that will continue even after I've died and I'm relaxing in my grave. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will continue to bless me. And I say, where did this come from? Oh, your child made dua for you. Where did this come from? Your child paid Surah Yasin and sent it to you. Where did this come from? Oh, the sadaqah you gave, you built you dug the well, or you paid towards the digging of the well. Oh, the people are drinking from it and they're making dua for the person who dug the well. I'm sleeping in my grave, my door of good deeds has closed, but the sadaqah jariyah, the continuous charity that I have now given, will benefit me in the hereafter. Oh, ilmin yuntafa'u bihi. Oh, I was a teacher and I sent knowledge on to other people. And they have benefited from this knowledge, they have acted upon this knowledge, and they have taught other people and they have taught others, and it's a wholesale business. I taught one and he taught 10 and each one taught 10, and it's just proliferated. And it's gone crazy big. And I've started at the top like a pyramid scheme, right? This is a Ponzi scheme of good deeds. A pyramid scheme of good deeds. Where I start at the top and it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and I get rewarded. It's commission. I get rewarded for every single person who does good deeds. And the last person, the last type of action you will benefit from after you die, أَوْ وَلَدٍ صَالِحٍ يَدْعُو لَهُ. You give your child a good tarbiyah, you make him a pious child, and when this pious child makes dua for you, you are lying in the grave and you are benefiting from your child's dua. There are cases, right? I had myself where a child's father has passed away. And the child has come to me and said, how do I pray Salatul Janazah on my father? I don't know the dua for Salatul Janazah. I don't know how to pray it. I know it's similar to Eid Salah because we raise our hands and we stand up and there's no sujood. But I don't really understand how to pray Salatul Janazah. What has the father done to this child that the child is unable to even recall Salatul Janazah for his own father? We need to start waking up. Like, we really need to wake up. And we can't just think it's gonna be okay, it's going to pan out. What we need to do, and I'm a realist, right? What we need to do is think of strategies to protect the iman of our young children. There was a time, and the elders here will remember, there was a time where the biggest fitna we had was bad character being instilled inside our children. The fitna has accelerated at a rate now where we are fearing the iman of our children. Let me give you a case of my own in Gloucester. And I'm a Gujarati, so I can say this, right? From the Gujarati community in Gloucester. We think our communities are protected. Let me tell you. There was a boy, a case that came to me. He was about 19 years old at the time. And somebody went to, the brothers from Jamaat, the Tablighi brothers went to his house, knocked on the door, and he came to the door and he said, I don't believe anymore. And he lives about a 1 minute walk from the masjid. A 1 minute walk from the masjid. I don't believe anymore. And they're like, what? How? What happened? And he said, I'm having a lot of doubts and I don't really feel anything anymore. And they were shocked. And they told me. And I said, okay, let me speak to him. So he refused to speak to me. What he did was he sent me an email. And the email was 3 or 5 pages full of questions. Why this, why that, how is this, how is that? All questioning iman. And I asked him one simple question. Can you believe in something you have not seen? Do you have the capacity within you? Will you accept belief in something you cannot see? He said no. I said there's no point of answering 5 pages of questions then. Because that's question number 1. If you don't answer question number 1, then you can leave everything else. Anyway, this boy then came to the masjid. And he was coming to the masjid for a few weeks. So the people thought, alhamdulillah, somebody's spoken to him. And I was like, I couldn't influence him, but we made dua, inshallah, something worked out, right? He came to the masjid again. And he said, alhamdulillah, fantastic, brilliant. A few weeks later, he stopped coming to the masjid again. This what's going on now. He stopped, he came, he stopped, what's going on? And they went to see him, and you know what this child said? A 19-year-old child. He said, I came to the masjid when it was my exam time. Because I wanted to see if Allah accepted my dua. But I didn't do too well in my exam, so I don't believe anymore. So I stopped coming to the masjid now. Let me make something clear. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is unmuhtaj or dependent on the iman of these young children. But imagine what had happened in his house for this child to get to this level. that he got to a stage within our own community of denial of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We really need to keep a close eye on our children, on what they are studying. We really need to keep a close eye on the people they are hanging around with, because our children are quite literally our future. And not just our future in the dunya, our future in the hereafter. When our eyes close and we are in the grave, what we don't want is that after our eyes have closed, we continue to be punished because of our children. Then what was the point of all of our good deeds? What was the point of me coming to Fajr when my child wasn't waking up? What we want is when I'm sleeping in the grave, my child continues to come to the qabr. He continues to pray Quran for me, continues to make dua for me, continues to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to free me from the fire, to send me to Jannah. This is what I want. But what have I done in the dunya to make my child like this? Have I given him the right ta'aleem? Have I given him the right education? What we do as parents is, and I tell you this as a teacher as well, what we do is, how many hours are there in the week? 24 times 7, whose maths is quick? 140 plus 28, 168 hours in the week. 168 hours in the week. How many hours do our children go to a madrasa for? 2 hours a day, 5 days a week, is that about right? So 10 hours of the week we send our child to the madrasa. How many hours of the week are they in school for? 7 times 5, 35. 35 hours. So they are receiving more than 3 times that, and it's fine. Sending to school is fine, of course it's fine. But they have 1/3 of Islamic education compared to other types of education. And you know what I expect as a parent? I have 158 hours with my child, 10 hours to madrasa. And I want the alim, the Maulana Sahib in the madrasa to do in 10 hours what I can't do in 158 hours of the week. And I want him in 10 hours to fix my child, even though I have 15 times multiplied the time that the alim has in the madrasa. I was speaking to Maulana just at his house a while, just before we came. And I said that when I was studying hifz by my father, there was not a day where my father did not sit with me and do my sabak, my new lesson with me. Not one day. He was there all the time. And he sat with me, and that is the only way I did it. When my father had a meeting, we had to go somewhere, I couldn't do I just missed the day. We have high aspirations for our children. The question is this is a question we need to ask ourselves every day. What am I doing to be proud of my child in the hereafter? When my child graduates university, he does something great, I go around, telling family and friends, and rightly so, nothing wrong with it, my child has done something so great. In the hereafter, there will be nothing greater than knowing your child has become successful. I think the pride on that day will be greater than the pride, any type of pride you'd have felt in this dunya. But what are we doing to feel that pride in the hereafter? What am I doing for my children? What are my priorities at home? If my child is coming home and my child is sitting straight in front of a TV and my child has his phone, his iPad, his tablet out, and my child is not engaged in any dini activity, do I really think, let's be honest here, if I haven't made him love Islam by the time he's 16 or 17 years old, he's suddenly going to have a change of heart and start loving it when he's 30 years old? Let's be completely honest. Can I really expect that from my child? But the reason why we expect it as parents is because we think we don't want to take responsibility for it. We think, it's his life, he'll do as he wishes. Inshallah, Allah will save me through my actions. Inshallah, that is true. Allah will save us through our actions. But we have a responsibility for our children. There's a really, really beautiful story somebody once told me of a young child. The young child asked his daddy, he said, "Daddy, how much do you get paid?" And daddy said, "I get paid £20 an hour." And this child used to get pocket money, £1 a week. This child, for 20 weeks, saves up £1 a week. He saves up £1 a week. After 20 weeks, he has how much money? £20, well done. He has £20. He says to his father, he has £20, he brings his coins to his daddy. He says, "Daddy, this is £20 for you." And daddy says, "Why have you given me £20, beta?" "Oh, sir, I've given you £20. He said, "So you can give me 1 hour of your time." So you can give me 1 hour of your time. And this is the reality. How many of us can seriously at home say we have, now this is a very practical thing to do. How many of us at home have a non-technology time or non-gadget time at home? Like when we're eating basically, or when the kids come home from the evening madrasa, or even at tea time after school. How often do I spend at home just with my children and without external distractions? If we're not, this is something we have to change. We need to have time where we are just speaking to our children, where we give exclusively to our children. Because what happens is, and the older parents will definitely have experienced this, when your child is young, you take a really keen interest. And the time comes where you start thinking the child's future will pan out and it'll be okay. And then the child suddenly has turned 16, 17, and you want the child to talk to you. And the child doesn't want to talk to you. Because you didn't give him time when he was 6 or 7. Why is he going to give you time when he's 16 or 17? And the older parents would certainly, definitely have experienced this. We have to take ownership of our children's futures. Because their success is our success. Their success is our success. Have you heard the story of Malik bin Dinar, rahmatullahi alayhi? Sayyidina Malik bin Dinar, rahmatullahi alayhi. Malik bin Dinar, rahmatullahi alayhi, he was an alcoholic, he was a drunkard. I mean, he would drink. He had a little daughter, and the little daughter would take the bottle and she would throw it away and say, no, like in her language, no, but you can't drink this. And she passed away and he had a breakdown, and he sees a dream, and in the dream he's being chased from here and there, being chased into Jahannam and then brought back. And the daughter on that day rescues him. And the whole, and then he does tawbah and he becomes a good man, and he becomes, that's why we put Sayyiduna before his name, Imamuna before his name, that's why we put Rahimahullah, Yarhamuhullah after his name, because he became a good man after that. But our children are our future. And let me tell you, when you do the tarbiyah of your child, you will benefit more than your child. Because when you do the tarbiyah of your child and you get old, who will look after you? Your children. But if you've never taught them the value of parents, how is that child going to look after you? Especially in the time of care homes now. If we haven't done their tarbiyah to respect their parents, and let me tell you how powerful. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends a message in Surah Luqman. Sayyidina Luqman alayhi salatu wasalam, he is teaching his child about Allah. And he says, Ya bunayya la tushrik billah. O my son, do not do shirk with Allah. Do not ascribe partners unto Allah. Do not deny Allah's qualities. Inna shirka la dhulmun azim. Shirk is a great evil. Don't ever commit shirk. And how does Allah repay the favor to Luqman alayhi salam? So what has Luqman done? Luqman has taught his son about Allah. And then Allah tells Luqman's son how to respect his father. When we teach our children Allah, the children will learn respect, adab, obedience to parents. And Allah teaches this in Surah Luqman. Luqman taught his son about Allah. Allah then teaches Luqman's son about Luqman. وَوَصَّيْنَا الْإِنسَانَ بِوَالِدَيْهِ حَمَلَتْهُ أُمُّهُ وَهْنًا عَلَى وَهْنٍ وفصاله في عامين أن اشكر لي ولوالديك إلي المصير. So we have a responsibility for our children. We have a great, in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the ayah I recited, O people of Iman, save yourselves and save your families from the fire of Jahannam. Save yourselves and save your families from the fire of Jahannam. Now what I want us to do today, the parents, what I want you to do today, it's a very bitter pill for us to swallow, but what I want us to do today is when we go back home, let's make a list, even if it's a mental list, ideally something written down. What are the potential challenges facing my children today? And children, youngsters, what you can do is, what are the challenges facing me today? And for every challenge you have written down, write down the potential solution. Write down how you are going to implement that solution inside your life. Be very, very realistic. The greatest challenge I believe we are facing today in the Muslim Ummah is obviously this challenge of modernism, post-modernism actually, and then you have atheism and all these things. But all of this comes from a lack of Islamic identity. I think the root cause of it all is a lack of Islamic identity. Children just do not have the strong bonding with Islam they should have. Because if they did, they wouldn't be going to XYZ to find value, to find worth. Does that make sense? If they were strong enough, imagine you have a tree, right? The tree is only as strong as the roots. If the roots are rotten, will that tree stand up in heavy winds? Of course it won't. If the roots are strong, what will happen to the tree? It'll stay. It'll be firm. And the roots of Iman, if they are strong inside our children, whatever fitna comes to our children, they will stand strong. But if the roots of Iman are weak inside our children, any fitna comes, and our children are going to be wavy. We're going to be wavy. So the message from today's talk is we need to prioritize our children. What can I do for my child? Am I doing everything I can for my child? You know, in the school we work in, we tell the teachers, you need to go to bed every night thinking to yourself, telling yourself, I have done whatever I could for this child today. For the children in my class, I have given 100%. If you can't go to sleep like that, or giving yourself that reassurance, then we're in the wrong job. And parents, it's the same thing. If I can't go to bed thinking I have done 100% that I could for my child today, then I need to fix that for tomorrow. And I promise you, if we look after our children will certainly look after us. And this is a promise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make to you. If you look after your children will certainly look after you. You know why? Because there's a thing in the Quran, right? Allah says, هَلْ جَزَاءُ الْإِحْسَانِ إِلَّا الْإِحْسَانِ. The reward of perfection is not but perfection. The reward of goodness is not but goodness. When you give good, you will get good. When you give your child the best education, your child will benefit 100%. And you will benefit. You can actually take your child and say, Alhamdulillah, this is my child. And the happiness you feel when your child becomes a hafiz, oh, Allah, on the day of judgment, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promises the father and the mother of a child who has completed the hifd of the Quran, not just the hifd, but has also understood and implemented the Quran in their lives, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make them wear a taj, a crown. And the crown will shine bright. And the reason the crown will shine bright is so the other parents can recognize this is the hospitality of Allah for the good ones. And your children will be a pride for you in the hereafter. If you give your child the right tarbiyah, and your child becomes a hafiz or becomes an alim, does something good for the deen, and Allah is happy with him, He promises that your child, you will take 10 people to Jannah with you. And if my actions aren't good enough to take me to Jannah, my child's actions will be good enough to take me to Jannah, inshallah. My shaykh once said that, you know, when we pray salah, we don't know if Allah accepts it or not, right? Allah said the box is ticked, alhamdulillah, he has prayed his maghrib in Jama'at, fantastic. But how much it made us closer to Allah, only Allah knows. But he said the salah that is accepted, let me tell you a salah which is accepted. He said, you know when the mother prays salah at home, and next to her, the baby child, the boy, the girl is praying salah. You know when they have their small musallas, jai namaz, and the child is praying and copying and imitating his mother and his father. The Shaykh said, when that child goes into sajda, the mother's salah is accepted. And he said, you know why? Because this mother is implementing the importance of salah inside this child. Allah loves the action of implementing this tarbiyah inside the child so much because of the barakah of the child, the salah of the mother is accepted. Think about that. Our children they are our future. They are the future of our communities. Who's going to fill these masajid after we go? We might go to programs, let's send our children to programs. How many times do we go to programs together? I'm not going to do a show of hands here and say, right, how many of you have come with your dads, or how many dads have brought their sons? But we know ourselves. Why? Why do we not have this environment inside? I know, look, parenthood, we are also quite, anxious about being parents. Because there's nobody promises it's going to be easy. But whenever the challenge is greater, the reward is greater. That's a principle of Allah. Whenever the challenge is greater, the reward is greater. So the challenge of parenting today is probably the hardest it's ever been. But that means the reward is great. The reward is greater than it's ever been as well. So we need to really implement this tarbiyah inside our children. And where does tarbiyah start? With ourselves. And I'll go back to the first point we made. We worry about the nasl, but the nasl will not change until who changes? The asl changes. I cannot expect my child to be, the great allama of the time if I'm not waking up for Fajr. I can't expect my child to do all the good things I was deprived of. Of course, illa mashallah, it can happen. Of course it can happen. And, even the son of Sayyidina Nuh alayhi salatu wasalam was led to disbelief. So we're not saying if you are an allama, your child will definitely be an allama. Or if you are so bad, your child will definitely be bad. Of course there are exceptions to the rule. But we need to give our children the best possible opportunity to be the best Muslim they can be. We are worried about their futures, their degrees, their jobs, their professions, their marriages. We're worried about all of these things. Let's put just a tiny bit of that worry about the iman as well. What is going to happen to my child? After I die, think. Let's just take a moment to think. If I were to pass away today, Allah give us all a long and healthy life. But if I were to pass away today, can I trust my child? Can I trust my child to stay on the path of iman and to benefit me in the hereafter? Let's be completely honest with ourselves. If I can't trust my child to do that, I need to work harder on my child. I need to work harder on my child. Because our children are our future. Our children are our here and now, and of course then later they are our future. But let me give you some solace with a final ayat of the Quran. In Surah Al-Tur, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَاتَّبَعَتْهُمْ ذُرِّيَّتُهُمْ بِإِيمَانٍ أَلْحَقْنَا بِهِمْ ذُرِّيَّتَهُمْ وَمَا أَلَتْنَاهُمْ مِنْ عَمَلِهِمْ مِنْ شَيْءٍ كُلُّ امْرِئٍ بِمَا كَسَبَ رَهِينٌ. وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, and those people who bring iman. وَاتَّبَعَتْهُمْ ذُرِّيَّتُهُمْ بِإِيمَانٍ. They bring iman and their children follow them and also bring iman. أَلْحَقْنَا بِهِمْ ذُرِّيَّتَهُمْ. If there is anything lacking in the a'mal of the parent, أَلْحَقْنَا بِهِمْ ذُرِّيَّتَهُمْ. If there is anything lacking in the a'mal of the parents or the children, Allah will join them together. If you try your best and your children follow the good path you are on, if there is any deficiency in either of your a'mal, Allah will join you together in goodness. وَمَا أَلَتْنَاهُمْ مِنْ عَمَلِهِمْ مِنْ شَيْءٍ. And we won't delete any good actions. We won't ignore any of them. كُلُّ امْرِئٍ بِمَا كَسَبَ رَهِينٌ. Every person with everything he has done will be bound to his actions. I can't run away from my actions. Those are my actions and I have to live with them. But if I do the tarbiyah of my children, if I work on making my children good Muslims, Allah will reward me in this life. I will benefit from them in this life and in the hereafter. I'll finish with one statement. Shaykh Muhammad Yunus rahmatullahi alayhi was a great Shaykh of Hindustan, of India. And he had taught the Sahih of Imam Bukhari for over 45 years, nearly I think maybe over 50 years. And he said something once in his talk that was astonishing. He said something that, blew my mind away. And he said, whenever we want to Isal al-Thawab, we want to send reward onto the deceased. Pray Quran, give sadaqah for the deceased. He said, we need to make an intention. Allah send this reward for this person. He said, when the child does any good deed without making an intention, the parent is rewarded. And he said, this is the haqq and the right the parent has over the child. But I can only expect that from my child if I have implemented that inside my child. And if I haven't implemented the importance of that inside my child, My child won't even do that. So this is the message of today. Let's take extra care of our children. They are very, very important. They are our dunya and our akhirah. And our pride. They are our pride. Let me teach you a dua. I'll teach you a dua. Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam made a dua. رَبِّ جَعَلْنِي مُقِيمَ الصَّلَاةِ وَمِنْ ذُرِّيَّتِي رَبَّنَا وَتَقَبَّلْ دُعَاء. And then the opposite, رَبَّنَا غْفِرْ لِي وَلِوَالِدَيَّ وَلِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ يَوْمَ يَقُومُ الْحِسَابِ. He makes a dua for his child. رَبِّ جَعَلْنِي مُقِيمَ الصَّلَاةِ. Allah, make us from the people who establish their salah, meaning who establish goodness. وَمِنْ ذُرِّيَّتِي, and make our children amongst these good people as well. Allah accept our dua. And then he says, رَبَّنَا غْفِرْ لِي, Allah forgive me, وَلِوَالِدَيَّ, and my parents. Because this is the natural sequence. When you look after your children, they will look after you. When you look after your children in this life, after you've gone, they will make dua for you. But if you don't do that tarbiyah in the dunya, then who's going to remember you after you're gone? When you have children who don't know how to pray Salatul Janazah on their own parents. When you have a child who's standing there who doesn't know what to recite when he goes to the grave, which surahs of the Quran do I recite? How do I recite Suratul Ikhlas? Qul huwallahu ahad. How do I recite Suratul Fatiha? This is really, really powerful dua. And the second dua in the Quran. رَبَّنَا هَبْ لَنَا مِنْ أَزْوَاجِنَا وَذُرِّيَّاتِنَا قُرَّةَ أَعْيُنٍ وَجَعَلْنَا لِلْمُتَّقِينَ إِمَامًا. Oh Allah, هَبْ لَنَا مِنْ أَزْوَاجِنَا وَذُرِّيَّاتِنَا قُرَّةَ أَعْيُنٍ. Make our children and our families the coolness of our eyes. Make us happy with them. وَجَعَلْنَا لِلْمُتَّقِينَ إِمَامًا, and make us all leaders of the mu'mineen, leaders of the muttaqeen. Say Ameen. It's a beautiful dua. These are two du'as in the Quran. I'm sure Mona will get the du'as for you if you want it later. Really important du'as for parents to recite. رَبِّ جَعَلْنِي مُقِيمَ الصَّلَاةِ وَمِنْ ذُرِّيَّتِي رَبَّنَا وَتَقَبَّلْ دُعَاءَ رَبَّنَا اغْفِرْ لِي وَلِوَالِدَيَّ وَلِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ يَوْمَ يَقُومُ الْحِسَابِ. And then رَبَّنَا هَبْ لَنَا مِنْ أَزْوَاجِنَا وَذُرِّيَّاتِنَا قُرَّةَ أَعْيُنٍ وَجَعَلْنَا لِلْمُتَّقِينَ إِمَامًا. If I've said anything that has come out wrong or has been of anything evil, then it's from myself and shaitan. If I've said anything of benefit, it is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I request all of you to remember me in your du'as, to remember our school in your du'as, and to help however you can. Jazakumullah khair. Ameen wa qul
Jazakallah Maulana for a very, very insightful talk. I just wanted to say a couple of words of mine, inshallah, on the same subject.